take two. Apparently, I launched a whole series of video without the audio on. So now the audio should be working. I just want to make sure it is. Do me a favor and say audio on if you guys can hear my audio and it's working. For crying out loud. I wanted to take a second. I wanted to take like 10 minutes to talk about it. Now I have 4 minutes left, so whatever. I want to talk about how I pay half price for almost everything. And you guys missed a bunch of really good stories that I was telling all while my audio wasn't working, but now the audio should be rocking. If it is, yes, Tara said yay audio. Thank you, Tara, for letting me know. Thank you for team for sending me messages and saying your audio was off. Anyway, so here's the deal. I have learned in my life that if I want to buy things and paying attention, yeah, Melissa said it was just me. No, we're good. We're cool now. Everything's good. So here's the deal. I have learned a way to pay almost half price for everything. If you would love to pay half price for almost everything, do me a favor and say half price in the comments. And here's how this all sparked, because I've got a couple stories for you and we'll get moving in just a second. Is that, so I was just recently, I was just up at Lake Shasta. It's this beautiful lake just outside of Sacramento, a couple hours away, and I was hanging out with my uncle, and I had just sold a tent trailer. I don't know if you guys know, like 3 years ago, we bought a tent trailer because I love camping, but I'm really getting uncomfortable sleeping on the ground, especially with the kids. So this is it, right? So this tent trailer, this is it. It's a super fancy tent trailer, not super fancy, but check this out. So last week, I go up to Shasta, and I'm telling my uncle, I said, hey, I just sold a tent trailer. And he's like, oh, that's cool, man. He's like, I've never sold anything that I've ever owned. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, and this is my shout out to my Uncle Chris, by the way. And he goes, well, man, I just buy stuff, and then when I'm done with it, I give it to a friend, or I give it to my kids, or whatever. I just don't like reselling things. And it made me think for a second, how many people on planet Earth like buy things and don't resell them? And I said, well, why don't you do that? He's like, I just don't like people coming to my house. I have to pick a price. It's just not my thing. And I was like, okay, because check this out. Here's why I bring this up. This tent trailer, this magical tent trailer that I had here, I bought it 3 years ago for $1,200, $1,200. I sold it 2 weeks ago for, can you see it? 2,900 smackaroos. So not only did I not only pay less than half price, I actually made money on the transaction. In fact, I more than doubled my money back. Now, here's how that happens. Why the heck is that? I'm a fourth generation entrepreneur, business owner. And I think what my parents have always taught me as being in the retail business is like, you should be good at buying things at a deal and selling things at a premium. And so what I typically do when I buy things, and hopefully this is helpful. If this is helpful, do me a favor and comment helpful in the chat, is that, as that all goes on for me, what happened is that I like to find things that need a little bit of love, a little bit of attention, that maybe weren't cared for perfectly, or the people who dealt with them didn't know how to clean them, take care of them, whatever that deal is. So I found this deal, and I buy in different parts of town that I would buy things from, and then I sell it in better parts of town. Like these are all, in my mind, this is all stuff that I just normally do. But when I talked to my uncle and he's like, Jason, I don't ever do that, it made me realize there might be other people that are out there that don't do things like this. So do you buy deals? Do you buy at a deal and sell at a premium? Do me a favor and say, I do in the chat. If you do, if for some reason you're like, I don't, say, I don't. I want to know. I'd really like to know from you guys who does this. So this tent trailer. The other one I want to tell you about, and I only got 1 more minute left, but I'll tell you, I might do a whole series on this, by the way. If you'd like to see a whole series on like deals that Jason has done and hear how they work and what I've made money on, please let me know. Just comment deals. Otherwise, I'll scrap the whole idea. But the other thing is I bought a boat. I think it was about how many years ago was it? About 4 years ago, I bought a boat. I bought it for $2,500, nothing crazy. I just bought a normal boat. And then I had it for 3 years, used it, and I sold it for $5,400. So again, whether it's an iPhone or an iPad or laptop and all these other things, James says I don't. Dude, you should do that with camera gear. Bro, we need to talk about this. That's why I'm going to do a whole show on this series, I think. I'm going to unpack these deals. I'm going to give that framework and have all that. Oh, I just got a notification that said my next meeting cancels. You guys get a bonus of being able to do that for me. I'll give you guys a little bit more. By the way, if you want to hear more deals, do me a favor and comment more deals, and I'll tell you more about these boats now that I've got another free second here. So this boat. So I bought this boat, $2,500, used it for a while, cleaned it up, buffed it out, and even dropped in part of a new interior. And even after doing all those things, even after buying it for $2,500, maybe putting $500 to $1,000 into it, maybe I sold it for $5,400. I think that a lot of times, I'm just going to say it this way. I think that a lot of times people say, I can't afford something because they don't know how to buy something. Now, I want to be clear because if you're a deal hacker or something like that, oftentimes I think what people do is you try to beat people up on everything. Like I have people call me all the time for coaching or something and they're like, well, can I get a better deal? I don't beat people up on products and services. When I'm paying for somebody's service, like a haircut, I don't call up my stylist and they say, it's going to be whatever, $50 for a haircut. I don't call them up and go, can you do it for 25? I don't haggle with that. But on physical items, I will almost always haggle. I'm one of those people who loves to go to like swap meets or like buy things and like, but I only buy things at a deal if I know I can sell it at a premium or if I can use it for a while. So by the way, if you're a haggler, haggle over products, don't haggle over services. I don't like haggling over services because when people pay, when you talk somebody down of a service, in my opinion, they will do a worse job than if you pay them their full price. I actually like to pay the regular price and then tip or pay a little bit above premium and people will do actually better work. So don't haggle on services, but haggle on products. So here's what I mean, okay? I'll give you some more framework on this. Is that, like I said, I bought a boat, $2,500, sold it for $5,400, bought a trailer for $1,200, sold it for $2,900. By the way, that's not how I don't make money off that, that's my living or that's my lifestyle. I'm flipping things. But I like to know that I can buy something, use it for a while and get rid of it. So, and get rid of it and have a deal. So let me tell you about, again, paying more like half price for some of these things. And again, if this is helpful, do me a favor and comment helpful so I know this is good stuff, right? Is that as I look at things like this, is that I had a laptop. So this laptop that I have right now, I have a 2017 MacBook Pro. And I probably paid like $3,500 for this MacBook Pro. Prior to this, I had a MacBook Pro from 2012. I had a 2012 MacBook Pro. And MacBooks are pretty expensive. Like they're a fairly expensive product. Like I think I paid $2,500 for my last one, or for the previous one, $3,500 for this one, and now they even have like $6,500 versions of these MacBooks. But again, I use it every single day, so I kind of justify the expense. All right. Now, what I used to do back in the day is I used to buy PCs, and I'd pay $200 to $500 for laptops, and I'd have the PC for like a year, 2 years, and then I'd have to get rid of it. So I'd buy a $500 laptop. And then, 2 years later, try and sell it for $100 to $200 because it was kind of obsolete and not really working. And that's kind of what I used to do. But when I bought my MacBook Pro, I was like, man, this is the most expensive computer I ever had. And I actually had it for 5 years instead of 2. So that was one helpful thing. But I bought it for $2,500, this 2012, used it for 5 years. And I mean, used it hard. I'm on it every single day. I use this thing. I'm using it right now to do our broadcast, to do all these things. Like my laptop gets worked hard. I work at weekends, weekdays, editing and shooting videos and producing content, tons of stuff, right? And so after I used that laptop for 5 years, I went to go buy this new MacBook Pro. I had paid $2,500, and now I'm out shopping for a new MacBook Pro. They're $3,500, and I'm like, oh man, $3,500, that's so much more money. Well, what can I do? And I always think to myself, what can I sell to buy this thing? And by the way, James, dude, because I know you're all in this right now. He's chatting with me like a boss. Is that, for example, you might be like, well, what can I sell to buy that thing? That's how I think. If I don't have enough money to buy something, or I'm like, I really want to buy that new MacBook, I always think, what can I sell? Do I have something that I'm not using that I can sell? Well, clearly I had my old MacBook Pro. So I said, well, I wonder what it's worth. So I looked it up, did some research, found what I could do. And again, I cleaned it up, made it premium, did all these things. And I found out that I could probably get close to $1,000 for my old MacBook Pro. So think about that. I paid $2,500. I can sell it for $1,000. Okay, did you guys catch that? I paid $2,500. I could sell it for $1,000. Now, if you're like, well, I don't like dealing with people coming to my house and all these other things. Well, what that means is I actually have more buying power than you because I'm willing to sell my old stuff even in a deal, usually half price, maybe a third of what I paid for it. But still, when I sell it at half price, if you think about it, if you can afford it, if you pay that $2,500 and you're willing to recoup that $1,000 later, well, then I paid less than what most people pay because I didn't just donate the laptop or take it over to, somewhere else. And again, I format them and get rid of all my files, all those other things. But it's something that I really pay attention to because, again, whether I look at it like my last laptop sold and I repaid that money, or that $3,500 MacBook that I'm on right now that I want to buy, when I sell my other laptop at $1,000, I can use that $1,000. Like I use that as like seed money, right? My $1,000 from that item, and then I roll it into the new item. So I take that $1,000, like I recoup a little bit of my money from that $1,000 laptop, roll into my new item. Well, what did I pay for the new laptop? Did I pay $3,500 or did I really pay $2,500? Depends on how you want to look at it. But I did the math so I could be really specific. Because when I had that other laptop, I upgraded the RAM, upgraded the hard drive, put in a new battery. And even with all the money I had spent on that laptop over the course of 5 years, I did the math and realized I had only spent about $20 a month on owning that laptop. I don't know about you guys. I would gladly spend $20 a month. By the way, not financing charges and paying credit card bills and all that stuff, but I would gladly pay $20 a month to use something every single day like what I had. So anyway, I just want to give you guys some deals. If it's helpful to hear these, are you learning stuff from this? Do me a favor and comment, what are you learning right now if you're learning about this? Are you learning that like you need to start selling more of your stuff? And there is, by the way, a threshold. There's a threshold in this. It's a super important topic, and I want to be clear on it. And again, I was thinking about this, like this is just like this whole deal. I have this idea for this deal show. If you guys want to see a deal show, do me a favor and type in deal show, because I literally have dozens and dozens and dozens of these examples of deals that I've done. From my first house, I bought a house at $115,000, sold it for $220,000. Like, I've done all of these deals, and I realize that very often I've gotten paid to buy things. Like, I just really want you guys to hear that. Like, I've gotten paid to buy things, and I think people don't understand like what that means, because when you pay attention to getting paid to buy things, it just changes your perspective on what you want to buy. Your mind kind of goes into overdrive to say like, well, how could I recoup my costs? Or what would I need to pay for this? And like, what's my exit strategy? And by the way, this works for simple things like an iPhone. Like, right, I got this iPhone. I'm going to use it for a while. Then I'll resell it used, and I'll have paid about half price to use this iPhone. Or I'll use the, again, the money, the half price of the iPhone to then buy another iPhone. So I'm constantly paying less than the average person because I'm using that ability to buy it at a deal, sell it at a premium. Again, I'll say it, buy it at a deal and sell it at a premium. Now, if you think this is a lot of wasted time and you're like, Jason, I just don't have time to do things like that, that's fine. I just think that there's a huge opportunity for you if you look at buying things at a deal and selling them at a premium. Like I go back to James on here talking about he doesn't sell things. Man, you know how much camera equipment, bro, you've got sitting around that you could probably sell to go buy new camera equipment? And I think every time I talk about how do I go buy something new, the question always is there something that I have that I'm not using that I could sell to help offset the cost of buying this new thing? So whether that's a camera, like I was just talking about this the other day, we were going to upgrade some of the cameras for our podcast and things. I really like this camera that I'm on. I think it's pretty cool. It's a good working camera. I like how it looks. And Doug, my business partner, he's like, I got another camera. And I'm like, well, look, the good news is the camera you have is worth money, the camera that we need. We can sell your camera, buy 2 of these cameras. So think about this. The next time you go to buy something, and I'll leave you with this thought, okay? The next time you go to buy something, ask yourself, what will I be able to resell it for? Is there something that I have that I can sell in order to go buy that other thing and offset the cost? And I don't know, call me cheap, call me whatever, call me frugal, call me whatever. I don't really know. You tell me. But this mindset of selling something to buy something has existed in me for a very long time. The other thing I just want to be clear about is that, you really can pay half price for almost anything if it has resale value left. And don't be surprised, man. I would be blown away if you don't have hundreds of things right now that you own that you could sell if you wanted to go buy something. And I just have always had that philosophy where I'm like, oh, there's a new cool toy or new gadget, or like, hey, I want to go buy the new AirPods, or I want to go buy the whatever. I just ask myself, well, do I have an old set of AirPods that I can sell? I don't know. Maybe if you think that's gross to sell your old AirPods and buy some new ones. I don't care. If somebody's willing to buy it, I am willing to sell it. Because to me, what else am I going to do? Throw it away? Give it to somebody? And don't get me wrong, there might be a time to give something to somebody if you really want to pass it forward to a family member or just, gift somebody something. But don't do that because you don't know how to sell. Learn how to sell things at a premium. And anyway, if you want more deal shows and things like that, like I said, comment deal shows, and I might literally bust out some more deals. I think the most I have ever made on a single transaction is over $400,000 on a buy and then buy low and sell high sort of scenario, and that was half fluky. But I've very much, flipped cars and made thousands of dollars, flipped software and made $40,000. Like, those are all things that are pretty normal. And I just realized as I was talking to my uncle this last week is like, that's not normal, that for people to buy things at a deal and sell them at a premium in everything that they do. So anyway, if you want more of that stuff, like I said, comment deal show and I'll see if I put together a deal show. But I just want to throw a random Facebook Live out there for you guys today that hopefully was valuable. If today was really helpful and valuable, do me a favor, share this video. I'd love to give more deal value out there because I realize that's something that most people don't talk about. And it's literally the secret way to get way better things in your life, to have a better lifestyle. Because when I do things like we have a boat right now that I absolutely love. I bought it at a deal. Right now, it's worth $15,000 over what I paid for it. And so I could sell it and make $15,000. Like, I don't think people get it. I think some people are like, oh man, most people get a loan, they get all this stuff, and they have this, they make all these investments, or what they buy toys and their money gets drained by their toys. Whereas I think completely differently. Like, I buy toys to break even or make money on my toys. Like, maybe it's just me. James says, cool, man. Love this. Call me smart. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm just telling you, that's how I think of things. And hopefully it's helpful for some more people. If it's only helpful for James freaking Cooper, then this show is for you, bro. If anybody else found value out of this, like I said, do me a favor, comment, share. Appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Hope it's been good. See ya.